Hey guys, today we're going to talk about solving systems of linear equations, and this time we're looking at 3 dimensions. We already talked about this in class. Now let's look at how we're going to set this up. We have 3 different steps, and we're going to use step number 1 over and over again. So let's just keep this one out. Now the very first thing that I am going to do is find the determinant of this. Now remember, all I'm going to do is take the numbers out of each letters, and I'm just going to line it up just like this. And if you don't really understand where these numbers are coming from, just please compare the numbers that's in the equation, which is right here, with the coefficients of that and the numbers that I just wrote down. Okay, remember the little bars. Those little bars meant that we need to find the determinant. And in order to find the determinant, we have to write this twice. So we end up getting right here negative 9, 7. This is what I'm doing. I'm writing the first 2 columns over again to find the determinant. Okay. Now I'm going to use my calculator. I am going to use my calculator, and I'm always going to use that just because it's a little faster and a little bit more accurate in this case. Now let's go ahead and multiply. I'm multiplying it this way right here, and I'm gonna get negative 360. Multiply it this way right here. I'm gonna get positive 50. And then I'm gonna multiply it this way like this. Get positive 147. Now I'm going to do it the other way. And I would strongly suggest for you to use a regular calculator and not a phone, because I'm using a phone right now and it is not doing very well. So I'll get 120 right here, negative 120. And I would double check on your signs always. Okay. Now I'm going 7 times negative 2 times 9. So I get positive 126. I'm going to go ahead and work that one out. I'm going to get positive 175. And once I get that, I'm going to go ahead and add those bottom and the top. So I'm going to get negative 163 on the bottom, and on the top I am going to get 181, I believe. Yep, 181. Now as always, we're going to have to do bottom minus top, so negative 163 minus 181, which gives us negative 344, I believe. Let's check it. Negative 345. Negative, no, 344. Negative 344. Okay. Now that's our step number 1. Our step number 1 will always be to finding the determinant of the numbers that is given. Now let's go into step number 2. Before I go into step number 2, I am going to go ahead and write down my answer for step number 1, which gave me negative 344. I'm going to use that again. That's why I'm just going to remind myself of it now. Now on my step number 2, I'm purposefully going to find x first. So that's my goal. Find x. Okay. Now, remember how I had to write down all of the numbers right here? Negative 9, 7, 5, negative 5, 5, 8, 7, 3, negative 2, 5. Alright, on this case, now since I'm looking to find x, you see how that row right there, and that column right there is an x column? I'm going to go ahead and take all of that out, okay? I'm going to take all of it out. I'm going to replace it by the numbers that are right here. So I'm going to have 50 up here, negative 60, and 46. And my procedure will follow. I'm going to go ahead and write the first two columns. 5, 8, and 7. I'm going to go ahead and multiply it all out. Now make sure whenever you're multiplying it all out, you're using a calculator and not a phone, just because your phone doesn't really, it's not very nice most times. So it's going to give me 2,000 minus 460. And that's going to give me minus 1,260. Right? Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the top part. So that's going to give me 1104 plus negative 700. And that's going to give me 1,500. Now I'm going to go ahead and add these all out. So I'm going to get 280 on the bottom. I'm going to get negative 1,096 on the top. As always, I'm going to have to do bottom minus top, which gives me 1,376. Now once I get this far, I am almost done with this whole procedure. Now that number right there, which we got, okay, this is an extra step. Step number 3, I'm going to write it right here. Last step, I'm going to have to do step number 2 divided by step 1. Okay, and that's going to be 1,376 divided by negative 344, which gives me negative 4. And that would be my final answer. So our x that we found is negative 4. There we go. Now that's my x. Now as you can imagine, how many letters do we have? We have 3 different letters, x, y, and z. So we're going to end up having to find every one of those. We found x. Now let's go ahead and find y. I don't think, as time-wise, we really don't have that much time on it. I'm just going to set you up for y, and we're going to go from there, and I'm going to let you finish the problems up. Let's go ahead and remove all of this. Now, setting up for y is almost exactly the same thing as setting up for x. The only difference is that instead of taking out the x's, I'm going to take out the y's. Okay? So now, let's find y. Okay. Find y. Oops. Perfect. Find y. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to set it up. Remember, negative 9, 7, negative 5, 5, 8, 7, 3, negative 2, and 5. Now remember, we're looking for y's, and you see how this spot right here is the row of y's? Now I'm going to go ahead and take that out. I'm going to take that out and put the numbers in which belongs to, right here, the answer. So I'm going to have 50 here, negative 60, and 46. Now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to find the top number and then bottom number, and then you're going to go ahead and do that. When you do this,